Hello you, welcome back to Geekism. We're carrying on in the pirate area today and doing something in this top space right at the very top of the area, putting in a restaurant. This is something I wanted to do actually down below by the pirate ship, but we use that space for the Pathos 3. Thank you very much to whoever pointed that out, by the way. I kept calling it the Phantom 3. I don't know where I got that in my head from. It's actually called the Pathos ride. We put that in down there. So this little space here we're using for a restaurant. This is the end of the pirate area. This is the very top of it. So the next little bit here is going to be sci-fi to the north, and the centre is going to be fairy tale. This is what we're going to be working on next. And I think we might actually move over to the fairy tale for a little while. One thing I really do want to do is at the back of this pirate area is a dueling set of the hybrid coaster. I can't think of the name of them. Hybrid coasters. And it's something I wanted to do for ages around the back of the log flume and everything. The space is there for it, and I know you guys are probably chomping at the bit a little for a decent ride. It's not something we've done for quite a while, but honestly I am struggling to come up with some inspiration about how to theme it. I mean, other than just like plonking down more pirate stuff. So I'm going to hold off for it a little while, and we'll come back to it and finish it off maybe in a couple of weeks. But I do want to start making sort of advancements on the fairy tale area and the largest weenie in the park, the big central castle, proper standard sort of Disney style castle that we're going to be doing as well. So, you know, any suggestions for a theming around a hybrid coaster set? It's going to be relatively light theming as the ride goes on. I want to do sort of quite a realistic roller coaster, so if you think of something like, let me try and think a decent, well, talking of dueling coasters, how about the Dragon Challenge at Universal in Florida, which used to be Dueling Dragons. It's now part of Harry Potter. On the way up to it, it's heavily themed around the Triwizard Tournament. There's loads of theming as you go in, but when you actually get on the ride, it's, you know, there's just a few bushes around and you can see the car park and everything. So that's kind of the style I want to go for. Heavily theming of the station and the queue area, and but then the roller coaster itself is pretty sort of standard, you know, just sort of foliage around to theme it. So that's that anyway. So anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about what we're doing today. We say a sort of pirate themed restaurant. The first real proper sort of restaurant we've done in the park. Everywhere else I've kind of just put stalls, and but what I think I'm going to do from now on is have a large restaurant in each section, and then sort of food stalls as well. Again, that's kind of keeping in with what you would find in real life. You'd find a few bigger restaurants, but then you'd also find lots of stalls just selling sort of hot dogs, turkey legs, that kind of thing. So this is going to be a full restaurant. We don't have to do anything with the interior in this one, and quite honestly I don't think I am going to do anything with the interior. The game is starting to slow down a little for me in regards to frame rates, things like that. So to save on you know, using things that I don't really need to, I'm going to keep the interiors very light from now on, I'm afraid. I know there are people who are doing some fantastic interiors. In fact, just before recording this voiceover, I was watching Uthris do an amazing restaurant interior, or sort of, yeah, well, restaurant cafe type interior in his Alpine Odyssey Park, which is stunning. And so I know that it's possible, and it's also incredibly impressive as well, considering the scale of the items in this game. There is a lot of very large items in this game, so you know, doing interiors, I have a lot of respect for anyone who can do decent interiors, but I can't particularly. So I thought I might as well, you know, use that sort of processing power on making better, you know, interesting builds on the outsides as anyway. So we do, saying that though, we do a little bit of detail in here regarding sort of the actual restaurant-y bit. We build a condiment table that you would find in a lot of these sort of places. You help yourself to sort of napkins and sauces and things like that. And again, you'll see that we struggle a little bit with the size and scale of it. But I think it actually turns out pretty well. It's one of the nicest little bits of detail I think I've done in the game so far. So here it's a case of building up the balcony. I want this to be very sort of usable space, even though there's no guests going to actually get up here. This is all for show. But I wanted it to look very sort of realistic. Again, it's one of the sort of themes that I keep mentioning in these videos. I want this to look like a theme park version of whatever we're building. This isn't a real pirate fort. This is a theme park pirate fort. So it's a little bit over the top. You know, here we're using, you know, barrels and things to create fences, and it's a little over the top. It's not incredibly realistic as far as an actual pirate build goes, but I imagine this is the sort of thing I can see myself seeing, this sort of thing in an actual sort of piratey theme. theme park, and later on we do a little bit of work with a fountain, and again I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've done with the fountain there to make it a bit more sort of theme parky, a bit more exaggerated. And also the building comes down here. The terrain behind here, that's actually part of the log flume inside there, which we are going to go. We do definitely need to go back and cap that off. So inside there is a log flume, so they can't do that much to it because it's creating a dark area in the ride. So instead, I just kind of go with it and build the building into the rock, which is, you know, something you would see in a real piratey area. So I thought it would be a fine thing to replicate. I just shot off over there because I just wanted to have a look at the sort of scale and scope that I'd use these benches. Obviously we'll create a few different styles of tables and chairs as we go through the park, but here I wanted to use these relatively simple wood ones. I think they work quite well as the pirate theme. And up here we just use them pretty standard like that. On the ground floor we're going to do some more tables and chairs, and we're actually going to have some shade built into those as well. We can't get a bin up here, so I have to create a bin using a barrel and one of the art shapes. I think it looks fine. It works out quite nicely. That is the sort of place you would have a bin. And also I think now we're going to start working on the condiment table. No, we're doing a bit work around here. So here we've got a... I might go back actually and change this door into an archway so it looks a bit more usable. But here this would be the sort of additional seating, basically. You know, you have to see the sign, additional seating upstairs. This is what that would be. So people would come through there with their food that they've purchased, and they could come and sit up on the balcony and have a good view over the pirate park. And actually, sitting on this bit of the balcony here, you'd have a great view over into the fairy tale area once that starts getting developed. So we've got another sort of slightly raised area here, balcony area. That's going to be the main sort of seating area. And it will open out onto the main pathway there as well. Again, just sort of tying in the area to the rest of the park. Got to cap that off there with some, I think this is actually castle wall, but I think if you sort of adjust the colour a little bit, it's very useful within stucco to... the problem is the stucco wall pieces, they're very ridged, I guess, for her pleasure. They've got like little ripples on them or edging on them, so they don't really work as a floor piece, whereas this castle one I think works really well as a sort of tiled floor. So just changing the colour to like an orangey sort of stucco-y colour works quite nicely. This bit of dead space here, I was absolutely lost what to do with it, so I thought, well, if in doubt, put a pond there. It's always if in doubt, put a tree there, or, you know, for slightly larger areas, if in doubt, put a pond there. And actually it lends itself, it sort of gives me the idea to create quite a nice little feature, I think anyway, so which is what we're going to do in just a moment. Just going to cap off the edge of that wall there, and then I just have a little think about it. I think, oh, I've got an idea. Rather than just having a bit of path there, let's build a sort of a rope bridge, so to speak. So again, this would be, it's obviously not usable in the game, but this would be usable if people wanted to. They could walk along here, so it's not it's not a rickety thing. It's not built as purely decoration. It's meant to look like a usable rope bridge that people could walk across. So we make it quite sturdy with ropes and those sort of longer logs there. The only 8-meter log in the game, I think that is. Everything else is 4 meters. Very useful piece, actually, those 8-meter logs. So just figuring out some rope options here. The curved ones put a bit too much of a curve on, unfortunately. So we build our own curve using the straight pieces instead, following the line of the logs there to be able to then lift it up and have a pretty decent looking curve. Just dragging those out a little where the rope is clipping in. Make sure it doesn't clip through, and then we can do a little bit of design with these ropes. These came in 1.2, these sort of extra ropes and logs and things, and they're just awesome. They're a detailer's sort of best weapon, really. Please, Planet Coaster, if you're watching, smaller things. We want little things for detailing, bits of twig and rock and, you know, bits of metal and all just little things like this that we can use in all different ways. It really does get very useful. Talking of things coming in the game, this will be going out a couple of days before E3. Oh no, E3 itself has started, but this will be a couple of days before Frontier announces anything at E3, which it is doing apparently. I think the 13th and the 14th. I believe there is going to be an announcement regarding the summer new content. We have absolutely no idea what it is yet. The only thing we've heard is that, well, we haven't really heard anything really, but, you know, speculation, the DLC button has cropped up again in the game, and also the DLC option on Steam. And also, what else has turned up? Oh yeah, in one of the newsletters, the word seasonal was sort of highlighted. So I don't know whether we're expecting sort of like a summer seasonal thing. There's one thing I did actually mention with the 1.2 update. I thought we were going to get a sort of summer seasonal update because Sam Denny mentioned the fact that they were going on holiday. I think it actually turns out it means that they were going to PAX. But I was thinking maybe summer themed things, beach balls, beach benches and things. Oh, there's my Steam page for some reason. Like lilos and things, and I don't know what the word is. What you lie on? What you lie on when you're at the beach? What's the things you lie on in the beach? Like a chair thing. No, I'm asking the wife, and she sunbed. That's the word I was thinking of. Sunbed. You're much good help you were. Right, okay. She's beyond me playing Theme Hospital. So yeah, that sort of thing anyway, that's the sort of thing I was thinking that would add. So maybe we could see that this time. I mean, it could go as far as being water rides and things as well. Although, personally, I think water rides are a little way off. I see them being a full expansion pack, which I can't see them doing for maybe another 6 to 12 months, if I'm honest with you. I think this will be a summer DLC, same as what we've had with 1.1 and 1.2. Few new rides, new scenery, new gameplay feature, but nothing as big as something like water rides. So and then I think we'll probably get another one in the autumn, maybe for like a Halloween-y theme. I'm hoping anyway. I'd love to see a Halloween theme in the game, proper sort of scary theme with omni-movers and Halloween decorations. That'd be fantastic, or scary decorations at least. And then I think after that we're probably looking at sort of full-on expansion packs, things like zoos, water rides, and things. Not necessarily water slides. I think will be an expansion pack, but we could see some new water rides in the game, something like a water coaster or like a large drop boat like they use for something like Jurassic Park or the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, that sort of thing. I could see those maybe coming in this expansion, but I think water slides, I think that's going to be a full expansion a little bit further down the line, personally. Here's that thing I was telling you about, the sort of condiment table here. I'm trying to make a... I haven't actually seen them in the theme park, but we have them in McDonald's in this country. They're basically big vats of ketchup and barbecue sauce that you can just sort of squeeze yourself. And I was trying desperately to find a small cylinder to use. They're actually the top, you'll have seen them put down. They're the tops of cannons. They work out really quite nicely, I think. And those snowmen pipes, if you get rid of the pipe, they make great little cups or pots, and then that light there is just meant to look like something like a napkin holder or something like that. So again, you're really having to be creative with these small pieces to find things to use. Here I'm genuinely just looking through the list and seeing if anything jumps out as being small that I can add on. I find these little fences, I think they might create a nice bit of detail, but that's about it. I was maybe looking at something we could use to create like a straw rotunda thing, the little cylinders that the straws are in, but nothing really jumped out at me of being small and thin. Even the smallest cylinder art piece is still huge. But just think, if we could scale objects, how good would it be to have those like burger relish and things? You could make a full little buffet thing. It'd be great. Anyway, I think that turned out really quite nicely. I have to just adjust the cannons there a little so they're not clipping through the side. But we get there with it, and yeah, that's that. And it took me long enough to build that thing, so we're going to get the most out of it. So we end up placing it a few places around the building, but again, places where it would be useful and places where the people would actually come and need to grab some napkins and stuff. A lot of these sorts of restaurants in theme parks, I've noticed, they're mostly sort of self-service. You go to the counter, you get your food, and then it's kind of up to you to clear the table. I mean, you can, if you want to leave the stuff, you can, but for the most part, it's up to you to go, find a trash can and get rid of the stuff on your way out, just to sort of keep the lines moving and stuff. So again, just sort of copying the detail over from the top balcony there with this one, and carrying it around again. This idea of these barrels being used to cap off areas, over the top sort of pirate theming. Like I said before, this isn't a pirate town. This is a theme park pirate town, so using over-the-top theming like this, I think really sort of works quite well. Build that around there, and a few other little bits and bobs as well. So the last thing we're going to be doing, really, before we just sort of do sort of final touches, is a fountain in this area here. well, we've cut away now, sorry, but the area in a moment just to the right of the door. There was a little cut in the footage for some reason, but I've just removed that door a little bit. It looks awful looking head on at it, but from higher up it looks okay. It didn't sit nicely. So here, a slight problem I have with the fountains. There's basically 3 different types of brick when it comes to fountains. There's like a grey stone, an orange stone, and then this very white sort of washed out stone. And most of the pirate pieces are in this washed out stone, which is fine. But the bases that are in this washed out stone as well are very large. So a slightly smaller base, but in that style of stone would be really quite nice actually. So here I was saying about having sort of like a theme parky feel to this fountain. So as opposed to it just being a regular fountain, we place a bit of treasure at his captain's feet there, and we place some of these jars around, and then actually add some more fountain streams coming out of these jars. And again, it's for me anyway, it's these little things that sort of really give you that sort of theme parky feel. That's totally unrealistic. It obviously would never happen, but it's the sort of thing you would see in a theme park. I know that at Alton Towers in the UK they have these frogs sitting that squirt water out their mouths on the entrance, and there was a large sort of chocolate fountain near the Charlie and Chocolate Factory thing, I think, where there was like pipes and buckets and things, and they were all sort of spewing water out. And obviously in hotter countries, where there's a nicer weather, there's often sort of fountain areas that kids can run through and stuff as well. So it's just sort of a way of invoking that sort of the feel of a theme park. And this is another thing we do here. We've got this big open space here. I mean, I could have just stuck a few windows on it, but I thought I'll try and do something a little bit over the top and a little bit more theme parky. Started with these signs, found those neon signs. It's something we've not really used, and I think they're a little bit over the top, but found that if you sink them into the wall like that, I think they actually make quite a nice sort of not mosaic, what's the word, like a mural. There we go. That's quite a nice mural, and obviously it really sticks out like a sore thumb. But you're in a theme park, it's those sort of things that need to stick out. They need people to know that this is a nice looking piratey building, but it is also somewhere you can go and get a drink, you can go and get a coffee, you can come and spend money on stuff. So we've got to bear that in mind, that there still needs to be advertising, there still needs to be signage and sale points as well. Last few little bits there, windows, really just sort of like filling in gaps. Got this big space here, I end up putting one of the larger flags in, although it's still a little empty. I'll go back and place a few more windows in there later on. But I wanted to tie this building in with another part of the area, another part of the park. So I tried to make this bunting chain here. Unfortunately, because of the curve on it, it creates too big a curve. And so you sort of follow the curve like this, you see, you get this it's too deep a curve, basically. It ends up and people will garrot themselves as they walk past it on the balcony. So unfortunately this is all wasted. It all gets thrown away as soon as I turn it like that. Kind of see, yeah, forget it. But there is one piece in the game, I've actually used it before a lot of the rope came in. It's this sort of really long cable. It's actually part of the sci-fi theme, but it's cables, they're all hanging off each other, and they look sort of real messy, and actually I think work quite well as rope, especially if you do this with the bunting flag pieces. Get them into sort of like piratey colours, reds and browns and greens, and hang them off there. We've used that a couple of times in different areas. I think it's really smart. I think it looks really good. Yeah, so finishing touches, then a few more windows there, and then a bit of foliage, these gorgeous sort of like drooping ivy plants. A couple more of those would be so good, different shapes and sizes, because as much as you can sort of bury them into each other and stuff, they are quite specific sizes. So they do kind of get on top of each other, and you see a bit of a repeated pattern if you use them too much. With the wall ivy there, it's not so bad. There's like 3 or 4 different pieces, and you can do a lot more with them to create different patterns and stuff. But yeah, that sort of thicker hanging ivy does get a little repetitive if you use too much of it. A few of these barrel planters, we haven't used these much in the pirate area, to be honest. I felt that for a lot of the pirate area they're a little bit too posh, but this, I kind of wanted a little bit of a more upmarket theme with this, like it originally was originally sort of like a nice well-to-do area that the pirates have taken over and now are using as like a tavern. So it's got a little bit more market, and also this would be one of the slightly more upmarket restaurants in the place. Don't get me wrong, you're still getting burgers and chips, but you're getting them on plates instead of trays. That's the idea anyway. A little bit of detailing then, not much, just little tiny bits now, bits of rope and ivy and things like that, and then finally a little bit of foliage around the outside. Haven't done too much to the left side there. It's left purposefully bare because I genuinely, because I just don't know what's coming next and what we're going to have to do. I have a feeling that on the left there will be the sci-fi area. I've got a feeling it's going to be too jarring just to go straight into pirate, so we'll probably have like a green bank and have an area of foliage that people have to work their way through before they, because otherwise I think the sort of, you know, metallic silvers and metals and blacks and things of the sci-fi area is just going to be too jarring when we get to these sort of browns and a bit more natural tones of the pirate area. So I think we'll have some sort of transition period, although I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be yet. So we'll finish that off with a little bit of fencing. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. So we'll do a couple of little overshoots. Need to do a little bit of work there where the sand, just where the stairs meet, just to make it look like a path. I'll do that off camera. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, throw some of those slabs inside just so it looks good from the outside. Again, we haven't done the interior. I'll literally probably just throw a couple of you know, the shops in there to get actual guests walking in and out of there. But there we go, a little bit of an overview of the balcony area with some of the closer shots of the condiment tables. And then a bit of an overshot there. It looks like that rope running across to the entrance there just sort of ties in the area a little bit. And there we go. Like I say, still a bit of work to do around the top of the mountain there. Again, until I decide what we're doing, I just won't know. But there you go, as an overview of the area. The RMC hybrid coasters will go up the back there, that last little space that we need to fill in. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe. Any thoughts, queries, or suggestions, pop them down in the comments. And if you fancy a chat, you can find me on Twitter. I'm @ChantySparrow. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.